Hello folks, we're where a man belongs, and today I want to answer what are the best 45s ever. We're going to be looking at two different 1911s and two different HKs, the full-size HK45 and the HK45C. And the 1911s I have are Commander lightweights, so some of you are going to say it's not fair, but actually the weights are very similar to each other. So I do think this will be a fair battle of the legendary giants of 45, and you little sissy plastic boys need to get yourself at least one 1911, and I would suggest one of the HK45s as well. So it's not going to be the most accurate right now because I'm cold, and I'm going to start with just 5 rounds, pretty moderate tempo at 7 yards. Then I'll put in better ammo and we'll go out to 10 or 12, something like that. So let me start with the Springfield Ronin, which you can see right here. Let's go. All right, so first shot went high, but as you see, you can hear my pace. Those 4, I drilled them right in there. So my first shot of the day, but hey, that's the kind of accuracy you can get with a 1911. Now this one's about 30 ounces. I'm having trouble drawing from my holster. This one's about 30 ounces, but the recoil is not horrible. Recoil's not horrible. I was able to drop right back down there for, you know, these 3 are literally almost touching. So 1911s, you know, served our military for 74 years, the standard military, but then you got JSOC Marines after that. You still had Delta running them for quite a while, and then the HK45 started to get developed when Ken Hackathorn and Larry Vickers started consulting with HK in around 2001. So Delta was still using 1911s, or maybe just transition to Glock 22s and 40 cal for a little bit. Their 1911s were getting too beat up. And then 2001, HK was already starting to develop. 2005, 2006 was the military JCP, Joint Combat Pistol Program. That eventually got scrapped in 2006 to replace all of military's 9mm with 45s. However, the HK45C got adopted by Socom and specifically Navy SEALs, and Rangers played with them too. The HK45 Compact, which became the NK24. We'll talk about that more in a bit. Let me change pistols. And the HK45 is a new acquire, and it does shoot a little low left, so I'll have to see how that does because the sight is a little off, but I changed to the small backstrap, hoping the trigger reach and circumference would help me not shoot as left. All right, now for the biggest bad boy of the bunch, the HK45 Spider-Man grips. Originally, Vickers and Hackathorn didn't really like that. They wanted the size more of the 45 Compact that got adopted, but it feels great, just like my PA-30. I had the large backstrap on last time, switched to the small. Hopefully that doesn't make me shoot as left, but actually the rear sight is off a little bit, so it's not all on me. So if I'm shooting like down here, you know, laugh at me down below. I don't care. This one is in light LEM, which nowadays Hackathorn and Vickers said light LEM is the best way to go on both of the HK45 platforms. They call it a DAO. Think of it as long, safe travel, but still a crisp single action. That's why it is a very nice comparison to a 1911. Okay. And there we see the low left, but it is still so far left. You see the first 2 are a good 2 inches to the left. That is a bit of an issue. Hopefully I'll dial it in and correct it a bit, or if I gotta take it and get the rear drifted. But let's see how the Stingray carry next. So these 2 are a couple ounces heavier than these 2, and that's why it's a fair battle. 28.3 ounces, I believe 28.5 ounces. So very fair comparison we're doing here. Next up, we got the Tisas Stingray carry, which this is like really the lightest 45 carry at 28.3 ounces, bobtail cut. Look at my original video and then versus the Springfield Ronin video. So for a budget 45, this thing's awesome, been fully reliable, including with hollow points. Now, it is a bit of a heavier trigger than the Springfield. I'll just be honest. You get what you pay for. This is a lot for what you pay for. but that does, or maybe just the way the sights are regulated, this one shoots low for me as well. We'll see how it goes. 5 medium pace shots from 7 yards. All right, so we see we're opening up a bit with the Stingray. It's still pretty new, so maybe the trigger will slick up a little bit for a budget 1911. If you want to get in the game, and if you're one of these plastic striker guys, it's modern, guys, get a 1911. Maybe I'm persuaded by the 1911 Syndicate hour-plus video I watched last night. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I mean, that's okay. That's okay at 7 yards, but that's pretty slow fire. I would like more like this. But if I need really light as I age to carry, probably should have gotten a 9mm. That seems like sacrilege. But if I need a lightweight to carry when I'm older, I might switch over to the 1911 platform. Okay, let's see how the HK45C does. All right, now we got the HK45C or HK45 Compact. This one is also light LEM with that nice short single action like reset and wall. It's just the take up when you let off puts it back into a safe kind of mode because you have all this trigger travel. So look up Dan the Wolfman HK, you'll find a whole bunch of stuff. Again, this one was eventually, even though the Joint Combat Pistol Program / CP's combat pistol program officially got scrapped for the entire military, Socom / Navy SEALs adopted it. Now they had a decock only, so the typical safety here on the DASA, they have the DASA decock only, but in that Larry Vickers, Ken Hackathorn interview on pistol training by Tom Green, they say that light LEM was the way to go, and I have to agree, especially on the full size. If you guys try the DA pole, I can handle the DA. I got the DASA P2000s, P30L, but on the full size HK45, that first DA pole is really, really, really heavy unless you change springs and all that. Working from a holster for a P30, all the HKs fit in this holster. Dan the Wolfman, I'm Dan the Wolfman. You might want to know that. Okay. There's 5 shots, you know, medium pace, 7 yards with the HK45C. So let's look at our results. Springfield Ronin, first shot, and then boom, dead center. HK45, still getting used to it. It is even a little big. I have XL, I wear XL gloves. Just put the small back strap on. But the trigger reach, and I even measured it, and it just, even though it doesn't seem longer on the tape, it feels different. I am left, again, the sight, if I adjust the sight, that is actually a little off center. I'd basically probably be here. That's combat effective. That's pretty good. Stingray carry, it'll do. And for a budget 1911, get into a Tisas is not a bad way to start. That is okay. I feel the most comfortable with the 45C, and if I carried only 1911s used to sweeping off the safety, which I don't yet, but I always thought I might as I get really old, the most precision is probably here, though in other videos you can see I get pretty close with the HK45C. However, a little more vetting, getting used to it, and then once I run a bunch of different hollow points through it, this will be the new bedtime pistol replacing my P30L with a weapon-mounted light on it. So there is that. All right, let me paste these up, and I think we're going to put in some better federal TSJ ammo. I'm assuming that's pretty good, accurate ammo, and we'll push it back farther and go for a little slow fire. For the 1911s, I'm looking from this 3 o'clock no cant toggle holster. All my other 1911s are like 4 with cant. I don't like to carry that way. I've used them in other videos. Let's try some real accuracy now. Here with the Federal TSJ. So synthetic jacket, less fouling for your barrel, less lead for you, especially if you shoot indoors a lot, and all that. So this is a little slower velocity than the typical Federal FMJ, but I'm guessing it's real accurate stuff. We'll see. Each barrel might be different. So yeah, I'm going to push myself. Let's go back to 12 yards, even though some of it's not going to be good, probably with a couple of them. Go back to 12, do some slow fire. I know this isn't the most exciting video, but some data and just talking to you about the different pistols. If I do have time to do some rapid fire look at the pistols, recoil control, see it in action, we'll do that. But I think I'm going to leave you here. Did have a failure to go in a battery. I'm at about 400 rounds without a thorough, like, full disassembly cleaning. I have locked it back, put a little oil on the rails fairly recently, I believe. But the TSJ, it needed to be bumped. That wouldn't fully go in a battery. But as far as accuracy, we are all there, which would be the spine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good accuracy for 12 yards for my shooting ability. I'm not the late, great Paul Harrell. With the Springfield Ronin, shows you what even a medium, you know, to me it's kind of higher because I'm cheap, but a medium, you know, 750 Dux level 1911, what you can do with a precise single action trigger should give you your best shooting ability. All right, let's see the HK45 next. All right, Batman's Big Bore, my new home defense pistol, pretty soon here. HK45 full size, because you have the full rail. The C, you can only put special lights on it. You need the 45. I picked this up as a pretty much dedicated home defense pistol because size matters in the bedroom, baby. And I can put my light in a holster I have and it works. So here we go. Alright, perfect function with the HK. Of course, I got 110 dead ringer. 2 there on the spine, but 3 still left. So I think going to the small back strap, even though I got the large or the whatever, the one not small, I don't know if it's medium or large, on the 45C with some extra tape for texture. That's the problem with the 45C. It did kind of need that grip tape. Still a little left. But I think that's acceptable, 12 yards for my home defense needs. And maybe at some point I'll drift the sight, but not bad, not bad. Let's go with the Stingray next. Stingray carry, bobtail cut. I like that Ed Brown cut. Okay. All right, so acceptable, but not great. Accuracy, me, 12 yards. A bit of heavier pull, trigger pull. That wall is kind of making me dip. Bad shooter technique. Yeah, I'm not the best, but I'm pretty good. But, I mean, center of Batman. This is an 8-inch IDPA style circle, these shooting C's to the upper thoracic cavity. If I put some 45 HSTs or punch in the guy, it would do. It would do. And it's a lot. This is, I think, the lightest 45 for carry I own. So, anyway, let's go with the HK45C next, which that one does have aftermarket night sights on. This one has, from the factory, access night sights on. Access night sights. Dan the Wolfman. I know I ain't as pretty as Ava Flanell putting on her lipstick with these red lipstick TSJ rounds. Okay, so smaller. So if you had the tactical and you had and on the end, that's why Navy SEALs and Socom were using this. Elephant shoes might help you as you're going up a boat and it's wet and cold to funnel your hand in. Usually comes with 8-rounders. I don't have those, unfortunately. If I had one and I was a little skinnier, yeah, you can conceal it. It's only a little bigger than 19, but it's fairly thick. But it can be done at least wintertime. And if I had an 8-rounder, I probably would sometimes. So let's see how the HK45C does. Okay, that gives me the most confidence. Oh, I got one though. But I feel the most confident with the HK45C. I don't think I possibly could have thrown one in. If I did, it'd be down here. Do I have a triple? 1, 2. It's at least a double, if not a triple, compared to the other 3. So as far as which one do I feel I can shoot the fastest, it's the Springfield Ronin or the 45C. I feel very confident in this pistol because I've used it a bit, and just the circumference and the, even though I probably made it too thick with the wrap and the large, because I didn't originally know I was going to wrap it. Going to war, I feel really good with this one. It's just too bad the rail's not as long as the full size to put a typical good weapon mounted light on. So I'll wrap it up here, guys. But gun Jenga, what do I think? I think a 1911 can still get it done. You just got to learn the muscle memory and pretty much dedicate to that system. Even if you shot them your whole life, even though I shoot them fairly often, or you're honest outlaw, you shot them a lot, unless you're carrying stuff with a manual down safety, you know, a P35 high power, or a 1911, or maybe an HK with a safety, carrying it cocked and locked, something that's always that motion. It worries me because I typically pick 5 each year that I'm going to carry, and 2 are pretty much the main ones. 1 for winter, 1 for summer, and occasionally I'll dabble in the other 3. That's how I roll. Not saying you should do that, so be aware of that. But definitely, I mean, even 12 yards, the Ronin could get it done. The HK45, if I drift the sight, that's not bad. This Stingray for the money, very good. If I had to go to a gunfight right now, I'm probably taking the 45C. But for home defense, I want the full-size 45 because the weapon-mounted light. So a 1911 or the 45, which one is good for you? You be the judge. Which one's good for the military? 1911s need replacement a lot more often of parts. They need more PMC. They need more maintenance. They need more, like that Ronin, it's doing really good for a 1911, but it is really time, if I was carrying it more than just home, that I need to disassemble it. Where the HK45s, I bet you can go 1, 2, 91, 93,000 rounds without cleaning. Okay, you probably got to wipe it down and add a little oil. Maybe disassemble it. But I mean, when the manual says after 20,000 rounds, you might want to remove the little O-ring that slightly helps accuracy from the barrel, that's the maintenance schedule on the HK45. So going into war, if I was going to Afghanistan, even though 1911s worked for Delta and for MARSOC, and it could still work, they got to be higher trained individuals that will clean it more often. So that's why a Delta guy like Larry Vickers worked with HK, and it's like, well, what can we do that's 1911-ish that gives us longer durability, reliability, doesn't need all the cleaning, that can survive the Book of Eli and protect the Bible. So if you like this video, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Was a bit of a slow one. I'll see if I could do more rapid fire stuff, do a part 2. That depends. So guys, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Please always get down in the comments. If you had to pick one of these 4, which one would you pick? Or say 1911 or HK. Thank you very much. Kaboom.